We'll call our meeting to order at, I have 6:36 on, today is, what is today?
24th.
24th of January.
Is that right? That was a wild guess.
That's right. So I think we'll, and it's needless to call a roll, that we're not having an official meeting, and we'll dispense with Pledge of Allegiance tonight. And we are not going to address really the agenda. This is mainly going to be an opportunity for some maybe hearing from people or some discussion of things that might be helpful. So do we have anybody that wanted to speak in the 3-minute per speaker not present and not on the agenda?
I didn't receive any emails, but if anyone wants to speak, please.
Do we have do we have any people on the
There's
call?
a few. Well, it's our biggest audience ever. We can't.
Wow.
Go through the old business and stuff.
Isn't that too bad?
Yeah. Right. So do we have anybody that is just dying to ask a question, or
Does anybody have
have some feedback or comments they want to make?
anyone?
This is Ann. I could say something.
Well, go right ahead.
I zoomed into a meeting this morning. I'm not really sure what it was exactly, but it was part of the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments thing. And Craig Gooding also tuned in, and a lot of, I believe our town manager did. And they were talking about the Build Back Better legislation from Washington, all that hasn't happened yet, the transportation. And everyone's pretty frustrated, you know, but to apply for grants, there are just millions of things. And some of them would be helpful for the fire mitigation. And I imagine that Becky probably knows about that. So that's something I thought I'd mention.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
Telling us that there's fire mitigation funds available through grants.
Yes, they will. And it's really complicated though, because a lot of this new federal money is going to say you have to also, first of all, provide for disadvantaged people. And so I don't know if we can prove we're disadvantaged,
Yeah.
but there is money available for evacuation, things of that nature. I think there was a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
They do record those meetings, the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. So if anyone wants to tune in and look at those things, they could.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Are there any other people who might put their hand up and want to?
Any other hands up there, or anyone else have a comment? I do have some information on some grants that I included that we could discuss. There's a Janine Garnham on here. I don't know if you can hear me, but I was wondering if you had anything to add, or Nicholas.
No, I don't have anything. I'm just listening in.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry, we couldn't have a quorum tonight. Nicholas, anything?
No, I'm okay. I'm here to listen.
Okay. And I'm not seeing Kelly Hunter. She was the volunteer application that we have, and I'm not seeing her online. So I should just mention to anyone out there, I'll put a Facebook post on this too, but our committees and our boards, well, boards will take care of itself here in April. But we definitely are in need of volunteers for all of our committees. So please tell your friends, or tell them they can reach out to Town Hall. I'm in Town Hall full time, and so give a call or shoot an email to the clerk, and we can get you a volunteer application if you can't find it on the website. Do you want to cover any of that?
Well, I think that probably prioritized goals is something that we need to discuss in terms of an official meeting.
Right.
We need all
Yeah,
of our committee members here.
yeah,
Dan Batten's had taken the lead for the referrals, developing a list of referrals for
Right.
mitigation work.
Mhm.
And just to let people know who are on the phone and maybe have an interest, what we were trying to do is find organizations, and we have located a couple where they will help provide fuels mitigation and remediation for private property on a volunteer basis. So that was an example of an organization that we wanted to find more of those, or, you know, people who just wanted to band together and provide assistance and help to their neighbors in Green Mountain Falls. And so that's just a ongoing initiative that we have as a committee, is to develop that so that people will have a list to go to help find people to help them. So do you have anything to add on that, Rich?
No, I did see some stuff Dan put into the program that mentions some of the agencies we had that would do that, and they look pretty good, really.
Okay.
So hopefully that works out.
All right, we'll continue working on that in our committees. We had a request from the Board of Trustees for an outreach session to help really inform Green Mountain Falls residents and property owners and educate on how to do mitigation, resources available, various things. Is this the
this is the outline.
that Carolyn put together for us? Carolyn has done some historical research. I believe it was Carolyn that told me that a few years ago there was a similar initiative and they sent out invitations. Was it you, Rich, who told me that, or was that Carolyn?
I think Carolyn told me
Okay.
that, yeah, that's correct, we did.
And it was quite a to-do. We had 200 people that RSVP that they would attend. There was catered food, and we had quite a few local experts attended the meeting to speak. And in the end, we had 30 people show up, I think, for the meeting. So, you know, we want to make sure that if we do something, that it's, you know, that we offer something that is a benefit to people, but at the same time is something that is wanted or people would actually want to come to. And I'm reluctant to really get a big slate of speakers to come in, or to put on a lot of you know, catered food or things like that, if we don't think that it'd be well intended.
Yeah, that meeting was a result of the conception plan, which was done for the town of Green Mountain Falls. It was just after that came out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that meeting was held.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure, Carolyn.
Well, I just want to recognize, Richard had a really good point. I had sent this outline out to the members of the fire committee, and Richard had a really good point about, you know, it sounds like we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We've done all this and before, we've tried all this before, it didn't seem to work, and so I'm ready to redouble our efforts to make sure that we can hone in on and really try to make something, since since it's something the board wants, I guess. I think that we should, I was going to rework this outline and come up with some more ideas on how to tailor this specifically to, for Ute Pass, Green Mountain Falls. The other thing is, I just want to make sure that y'all see, I would really like to advocate for providing childcare at this meeting. Because I don't know when the last meeting was held, but I really do believe, it's just, I believe that parents sometimes can't attend because they can't leave their kids at home. And if we were to make some kind of effort to have childcare there, maybe that would increase attendance. But I think we really have to show the town that we're really serious about this. And we want this to happen.
It's warmer, we can have the kids outside.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I was just saying,
I
I've
think
got,
kids are always there. So
yeah, and I know I've got a 15-year-old, and I was just saying that when it's warmer, perhaps we could suggest having it, maybe the kids could be across the street at the park or something, and there could be a couple older kids that are responsible and just playing games and stuff or whatever. But I do think that would help. I think that's a good idea to help get people to attend for sure. And I'll just say, I just tweaked this a little bit, not much. I think I added like maybe Chairman Douglas would like to speak maybe at that or something, but I think it's a great idea. And I think that Becky and I as town staff, I think I can safely say we definitely want to promote this and help this come together. And if anyone else has any ideas about it, please reach out to us at Town Hall.
Well, thank you, Nate, for that support.
Well,
So sounds like it might be best to have it as the weather warms, which would be in April, May-ish.
I'm just thinking that just because of the continued COVID situation right now, I mean, people are probably still leery about those types of gatherings indoors and potlucks and all that kind of stuff. So,
and for the town, and for us in particular, our budget, we try to put a booklet together just for Green Mountain Falls would probably take our whole budget.
yeah.
We just can't afford it.
Except we don't have a budget.
Except we don't have a budget. Yeah.
And for
For what little
printing.
bit we have goes to mitigation.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, I think we can gather materials that are out there and maybe have some printed, but
Well, one thought is to have somebody that is Rich is an expert, so I hate to use the word expert, but we talk about somebody like Dave Root or Chief Murphy or the state, somebody to just come in and make a presentation on, the important things to know about evacuation, mitigation, the resources are available. I mean, sure, we could have, some childcare there for, but, what we really need to do is let people know what resources are available to them, and where to get it.
And we pretty much got
Even
the
grants.
evacuation plan in place. Granted, the notification system needs some work because people need to sign up for that alert system and siren. They don't foresee us getting it without some kind of grant. And that's going to be a while to even get in the works.
But I do think that people need to know, or be educated on what money is available, whether it's CUSP or something else like Ann was talking about.
Or even some of the free stuff that's available.
Yeah.
well, if I could move on, I'll just, I put a summary on this as far as what is posted on the town website at this point. And so I could just kind of give a quick overview to everyone that's on at least. And again, I'm trying to get into more of a rhythm of posting social media posts from the town. And so I'll try to highlight these sites in the next coming weeks, but we're talking about, so under this government tab, there's a fire mitigation advisory committee selection. And then we have a few pages under here. There's one for wildfire reality, wildfire mitigation, and this CUSP grant program, and then just the outs of fire restrictions. But on this wildfire reality thing, there is information about basically goes out to that map that has the scary red risk areas there. But I think it has a pretty nice list of what everyone should do. Maybe this should say what you should do now. But sign up for the peak alerts, perform fire mitigation. This links out to the Forest Service that has a lot of information about how to mitigate one's own property here. And it has videos, pretty shocking video from the Paradise Fire, some coverage from the Waldo Canyon Fire, and then links to volunteer. Resources page has just other links, some additional information from Colorado State Forest Service, has the town's fire evacuation plan on it. And finally, it goes to this CUSP program page, and this has details about, this was mostly, I think, Carolyn's article here about how to contact CUSP about getting funds for for private property owners, along with this story about the Falls Avenue neighborhood. So I've tried to get some information out there. Again, I'll try to highlight this from some social media posts in the near future. And then if there, then we can take any questions, I guess, on that or discussion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nate, I have a question. I just wondered, what did you and Becky decide about? I really wanted to, that stuff that Chief Murphy put out a couple of weeks ago, the message from him about evacuating and some other things. And I sent that to you, and I just wondered if you were, before Homer Mitigation can post it on his or her Facebook page, he has to get the okay from you to do it. So I just wondered if you found that article worthy enough to post it on the website, and then Homer can post it on his page.
Well, Carolyn, apparently I did not respond to you, and I apologize for that.
Oh no, David, I was asking Nate, not
Oh,
you.
Nate, okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I guess I'm not sure what the question is. I'm trying to review that list. I mean, I don't think the town is preventing you from posting anything on Facebook that you get from another source, but maybe I need to review what you wanted to post on the town website.
Well, I'll be happy to send you, I'll be very happy to send you another email about that. It was, here's my understanding of how Homer Mitigation works. Homer, for anybody who's interested, is an avatar for Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee. And as such, my understanding, and I'm the one who created him, and I answer the questions and all that, but he's on the Green Mountain Falls Facebook page, and he can post just like anybody else. And but the thing is that since he is a creation of FMAC, he really can't post any. The only thing he posts are things that are approved by the town first. That was my understanding when we started all this. Was, so I didn't have him post anything. the thing from Chief Murphy was a message that I posted on his behalf. It was a message from Chief Murphy about the evacuation plan, about evacuating and everything. So does that make
Carolyn,
sense? I'm sorry.
it may be that there's a, I think the town is trying to distance itself from things that might seem like it had, that what's posted on Facebook has any sort of official town approval.
Right.
And
So-
that only really
Applies to,
applies to the website.
yes, right.
So, I mean, we can certainly post things to the website. The only thing I'm seeing here is your ReadyGov, ReadyKit email, just with a quick search. But if you want to, if you want to just summarize or consolidate whatever you would suggest the town could post, be helpful to post on its website, we can certainly take a look at that.
Wouldn't the message from Chief Murphy be something you'd want to post?
Most likely.
Okay.
It was posted in Facebook on
What?
a local page.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Rich just said it was posted on Facebook on a local page. But it wasn't.
I know his message was, but it's not on the town website.
No.
And I just wondered if you thought that it should go on the town website. It's up to you. My original question, again, because of all this business we had with getting approval for, what the FMAC does, we don't want to go rogue, all that, that anything that I post on behalf of the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee first goes to Nate and the city manager for approval, and then they post it on the town website. And then I can post it under Homer Mitigation's name.
Well, I think you're free to post on Homer Mitigation with my approval.
Yeah,
Okay.
anytime. You're not even a member of the committee. You're the administrator of the pages. I think you should go ahead. People look at that, frankly, more
Well,
than the website.
That's fine. I'm happy to have that clarification.
Guys, I think on Homer Mitigation, what Homer Mitigation is publishing, since it's an avatar of the FMAC, should at least have the FMAC's approval, which you have been getting, and I appreciate that. I think that if we want to publish something on the town website, then the protocol that you laid out, I think, is correct. Is it not, Nate?
Yeah. But I guess I didn't realize that specifically it was supposed to be a representation of the fire mitigation. That's where the problem comes in. Because if you state something as a if that was never stated, then that person could post whatever they want, no one would care, right?
Yeah.
But because now we're saying that is a representation of a town committee,
That's where
then we're back to the beginning
Back to the beginning.
of having approval of
Okay.
the town manager, essentially. So,
Well,
like,
Nate, I'm happy to send you Homer's posting where he explained, where he or she explains all this. But this, so it is clear. He is, I'd say, let me just send it to you and so you can see it and we can
I
get
did
this.
read it.
yeah, that's fine. Just send it to me and we'll look. I mean, I don't see any problems really ever with posting. It's just the way that, yeah, I mean, if there's things that are official that the committee is recommending, all that stuff needs to be sort of reviewed. Like
Well,
we
that
talked
is
about.
a lot of what Homer does is recommendations.
Right, which
See,
are probably mostly common sense stuff. It's nothing that's.
Yeah, it's
like,
stuff, it's stuff that's-
controversial, but it's
Yeah.
still the
It's
fact
stuff
of.
that's been posted in the past.
Right,
He didn't say anything that's new.
right.
I pretty well know his feelings, and if we get a fire, particularly in the daytime, it's when most wildland fires occur, there might be a possibility of 3 people responding.
Mhm.
So he's gonna have his hands full just on trying to fight a fire. And that's always been the problem. There's nothing, it takes time to get other resources in. Normally, within 2 hours, you have a full-scale firefighting force. But up to that 2 hours, it might take a while.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand the fire department's position, that they have to address what's going on at the time.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about putting it out, Carolyn. Can't you just do it as yourself? It's always helpful and it gets people interested, which is the goal.
I'm not gonna put it out under my name. I'm just not gonna do that. And
Didn't you make?
Homer's name. It's gonna be under Homer's name.
Well, isn't that your creation?
Yes, and the FMAC. It's the creation of the FMAC.
Why do you have to clear it through them?
The FMAC?
Uh-huh.
Because it just has to be. I mean, I don't want to put out information that's wrong. They're the experts. I'm not.
Well,
You know, it's just and David always gives really quick turnaround on it. It's not like, you know, and when I did the evacuation story, I got that approved by Chief Murphy in record time also. I mean, the speed is not the problem. It's just, I just want to be clear as far as, I don't want to get the FMAC in trouble with the board for putting stuff out that has not been approved by, you know, that didn't go through the proper channels, that's all.
So but Nate, what we're saying is that Becky probably needs to just bless it. before it goes out.
Right, yeah,
Is that
and
right?
that's not a problem, yeah.
So I think, Carolyn, things that we're gonna put out on Homer mitigation, it just needs to, Becky just needs to review it and say it's okay. That's, I mean, that shouldn't be a BOT decision,
That's-
right?
Right, no, that's, I think that's right. I'm just, maybe I missed the whole, I don't, never mind. That's right, let's just do that. We've had a busy couple weeks and this may have slipped through the cracks, so I apologize, but we will get it reviewed and posted.
That's fine.
Well, are you gonna post it on the town's website
And town Facebook.
and town Facebook, not Homer mitigation? Or it has to be done that way before Homer mitigation could do it?
I don't understand the whole Homer mitigation thing. I just don't. I don't think that needs to particularly exist as a representation of the fire mitigation committee.
Okay,
I mean, that's where my whole confusion is. I don't know
yeah.
why that needs to be
Well-
structured that way.
Okay, here, I'll tell you why, Nate. I can go through the genesis if anybody is interested. First of all, ideally, it would be nice if it came from, if David Douglas posted it, okay? But, and it came from David Douglas. But he's not on Facebook, okay? Rich is on Facebook, but David is not, okay? I don't want to be, since I cover other stuff in the town, I don't want to be I don't want to be seen as a spokesperson for the fire mitigation committee. And I just can't be posting that, then what would, you know, it's just not a good look. And so that's why we created Homer. So it's either Homer or it's David or it's Rich Bowman.
Well, what about the town? I mean, the town's communication should come from the town, right? Not a fake avatar that's out there that no one really knows who it is. And I realize that part of it was because there was not information maybe coming from the town as much as people would like. So maybe if the town, as in me or Becky, puts out more regular information, which I plan on doing, maybe that will solve the problem.
Yeah,
And I do think that's part of the answer is, there was a dearth of information that was being provided through the town website or by the town at the recommendation of the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee.
Right,
So we were talking about how do we get information out to people?
right.
And I think things have changed, and now the town is providing that source. So,
Yeah, I looked through all the stuff you put on the town's website, and there's a bunch of information there, a lot of good information.
Just a matter of highlighting it.
It's a matter of finding it. Maybe there's a problem with people finding it or not knowing how to get to it or something of that nature. And I'm not sure how we solve that as a fire mitigation committee. I think that's something the town has to address.
Yeah.
It's very well done. It's easy to click on everything.
Yeah, I went over it and everything we've done, most everything we've done is in there. Now, there's stuff we've discussed prior to mitigation, prior to evacuation, after evacuation. Some of that stuff's not there yet. And we were looking at different brochures and things in the past. We've looked at a lot of stuff. A lot of it's there and some of it's not. It's just a matter of getting it done, getting the time to get it done. And
Well-
sorry, I missed that. Rich, are you talking about what the fire, is that what the fire department is doing?
No, this is on the town's website. And don't misunderstand me. I served on the fire department for 37 years.
Right,
And I was a chief for 9 years. And I fought every major fire that we've had in this area. So it's not something I'm just speaking off the top of my head, but we need to progress in a logical, progressive manner. And that's what the Fire Mitigation Board is trying to do. The information for the town that is on the town website is excellent. But it's going to take some money for us to publish anything from the Fire Mitigation Committee. It's going to, and as far as evacuation, it's going to take some money through grants to have the notification system installed in the town. So those things are in the works. They're just not going to happen immediately. I've been working on fire mitigation since the 90s. And most of the things we worked on get lost in the quagmire.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've done that too.
It's difficult. We've had so many committees up here. I want to make sure this one, and I think David's done an excellent job of keeping it on track. We need to just keep slow and methodical in our thought process and make sure we get all the information out there in a timely and good manner that the people in Green Mountain Falls have access to it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge proponent of Facebook. Yes, I'm on Facebook, but it has so much garbage on it, it's pathetic. I will post a letter from Chief Murphy. That's not a problem. The fire department has a Facebook page and I'm in charge of that page.
Good.
I'm not a fan of, I don't like Facebook, I really don't like Facebook, but
But unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's the only avenue we have.
yeah,
So what we give them has to be a joint effort by the Fire Mitigation Committee, and it has to be in relatively small bites.
mhm.
If you make it a large, huge document, nobody will read it. It gets skipped right over. So I think we're on the right path, and I appreciate everybody's input and everybody's help, but we just need to keep slowly and methodically working at this. It's the only way it's gonna succeed.
I'd like to say, this is Ann. Nate presented this thing on the 21st. It's on the agenda, 21st of this month. And it's really well organized as to what people can click on to the CUSP page to see if you're able to get grant funding. There's just a whole bunch. It's really well organized. And I think that's just happened. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's
The real
really,
challenge is getting it before people's eyes.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty. It would be nice if we could print up brochures and put them all over town. And put them in all the VRBOs and places like that for evacuation, pre-evacuation, after evacuation. It would be really nice if we could do that. In order to do that, we're gonna have to print up some 1,500 documents. And that's really expensive.
well, I wonder if Carolyn or somebody, you know, just like what I'm looking at is what Nick prepared, or Nathan, if she clicked on one of those and then just put it on the Facebook. Every other day, put something.
Yeah, you can put any of that stuff that's up there on
But
Facebook. It's all from
just-
governmental offices. It's free
Just-
to the taking.
But just one thing. So you don't flood people with, oh, here's the website. Like perform fire mitigation. If she clicked on that and then put it on the political pages and all, people would look at it.
And fire mitigation is a great thing, but you have to have an outlet for what they did. If someone mitigates their property and piles up all the brush next to their house, they've done absolutely nothing. You have to have some way to get rid of that brush. Maybe we have a chipping day for the town, or 2 chipping days. Those are things that have to occur, and they have to occur in a logical manner, and the word has to get out.
So
Rich, back on your point about printing up everything, I think that one thing that might cut down on the use of paper and expense would be to make everybody, make it available to everybody. There's got to be a lot of people around town who already have printers, and we don't have to make. We'd have to make some paper copies available, but we could also distribute these things PDF and have them printed out themselves. So that's, I'm just saying. On the other thing, as far as, I think it was Ann who posted something about some kind of a group up in Florissant that goes around mitigating.
What was that?
Have you heard
What'd she say?
have you heard about that?
And posted a thing about a fluorescent group. that does
Yes.
mitigation.
Yeah, it was totally not it wasn't, part of the government or anything. It was just a bunch of people who, and I sent it to David. This has been way before Christmas, but it just seemed like it was, they were doing something. I think they called themselves a posse or something like that. And
they were working with law enforcement and some nonprofits also. I think it was just kind of an idea to get people to come out, and they succeeded.
have they done much?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And a lot of those groups up there also, they could go in and mitigate, and then they give the wood away to people who need it to keep warm. And, it's hard to get this town to feel like a town.
They do that. There's a lot of the agencies up there in Teller County that do that charge for taking down the trees. And then they donate the wood back.
Mhm.
For,
Well, my
uh,
church doesn't. Our Lady of the Woods, They go in and take it down, cut it up and give it to people. And they store it at the fire department.
Yeah, I'm
And with
aware
a-
of that one.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that one. And they've been doing that for years.
And they did organize as a nonprofit, frankly. They finally did. And they got a little grant to help them with their equipment.
Yeah, they are a nonprofit. They're a 501c3
Uh-huh.
and they've been doing it for years.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not new, but that's a private agency that helps Teller County.
Well, they help anybody who asks.
Okay,
I mean, it's charitable.
Well, but people have to ask. That's the bottom line, is you can put this information out, tell people about it, but they have to take the step to say, I want this help and
That's right.
initiate it because it's their property. We as the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee can't intercede in that process.
I
other
agree.
than Provide the resource.
That's right.
So
There's no responsibility.
and that's something we're working on now, is getting together a group of those people that will do that. And then
Okay,
that
good.
will have to be published out for people to take some action on their own.
but the town has taken the view that they want to be careful that such a list is not an endorsement of any group.
Well, it'd really be nice to have this ready to unveil when we, at the same time of the community meeting in April or May.
Yes, it would.
Maybe this should be an election issue. Get people who are running for office to address this problem.
Well, you know, again, that's not the purview of the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee. That is,
Oh, no, I'm just talking off my top of my head. Sorry.
yeah, well. So I think the core issue here is homeowner mitigation, the process of getting anything approved and whether or not we need to continue homeowner mitigation if the town is going to publish information on the town's website and the town Facebook page, right? I mean, that's the essence.
I think so, yeah. And I can
And
start doing it, you
Yeah.
know, from the town.
Okay.
I think that'll solve,
Okay.
at least get it out there.
Hey, David, this is Todd. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
kind of wondering if we shouldn't document some kind of like communications plan with the Fire Mitigation Committee and the town. You know, it sounds like there's been some back and forth as far as who's responsible for what and what can actually be posted under like a kind of a town scenario or something endorsed by Fire Mitigation. Maybe it'd be just as good just to put together a 1 or 2 pager. And, you know, if the Board of Trustees approves that as part of like a communication plan, then we can basically, you know, move out communications according to that plan then.
well, I think that's an excellent idea, Todd. Thank you. So just put together a plan of communication that's approved by the board, and then we're
Yep.
we're kind of addressing this issue to get it resolved.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good. I could draft something up. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dane.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Todd.
And no problem. And the other thing is, you know, if we can get, say, multiple chipping days where people can take down their slash and whatnot, and that might help. And then maybe at some point we can kind of get back into the mode of, you know, sending people out letters, at least notifying them. Because I know at one point in time, long before we ever built, you know, we were notified. We got a letter from the town said, hey, we got a dead tree. And it was like, oh my gosh. So, you know, we called up the town and found someone local who could take the tree down and basically had them do it. And we were all remote at that point. We weren't in town and really much at all at that point. And so, you know, trying to maybe at least get that notification
Well,
going again.
I totally agree with you, Todd. Lamar and I had a similar situation when we first bought property here. We had a dead tree and we called the town manager and said, do you have any resources to help us? And they charged a little bit of money to remove it, but basically the position of the town management over the last couple of years, at least since I've been involved in Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee, is that the town cannot go on private property. So, you know, all of a sudden, what used to be a common practice has been stopped.
Yeah, the town going actually on the private properties probably gets into some legal hassles. But,
Right.
you know, then again, the notification, you know, most people, if they get a notification, they're gonna grab it and try to do something with it. You know,
Well,
you're gonna have the 1 or 2% that basically say, no, stay the hell off my property and everything else like that. But yeah, most people are just gonna say, hey, thanks, appreciate it, and try to get something done with it. So yeah, just the notification, I think if we can figure out a way to get that going again, that would help.
Todd, does this notification come like on official town stationery? I mean, it looks like it means business, or it looks like, you know, it's not just a postcard saying you've got a dead tree, get rid of it or something.
Yeah, the one I received was actually on town stationery, for lack of a better term. And they just basically said, hey, you got a dead tree on your property. Can you do something with it? And yeah, sure. We just grabbed it and we ran with it and called someone up and had them take care of it.
so
Yeah.
can I interrupt here for just a minute? There is a town ordinance which specifies the process for notifying private property owners of nuisance trees. I mean, there's already a process. It is an
That's
ordinance.
correct. There is an
And
ordinance.
the town, on the advice of an attorney, decided that that was not something they were going to continue doing.
But they weren't going to enforce it. Maybe that was the thing.
Well, we do have some enforcement issues. But I do think my personal opinion is a notification, especially since I think it's even contained in our latest code update, that's even outside the land use code, that they can notify people of like nuisance trees.
Okay, so
And
the town clerk is the person responsible, or is the office position that's responsible for sending out the notification. We, as a committee, wanted to enact a process of notifying the town clerk anytime we saw dead trees on a person's property, so that that letter could be sent. The town said no.
yeah, we may want to explore that again when we get a new board in April. Because if we've gotten an ordinance that basically backs us up for at least notification, then that shouldn't be an issue.
I agree, and I don't understand why it's an issue now, other than the current administration has decided that they don't want to enforce that ordinance.
Yeah,
There was some problems not too many years ago, before you lived here, where the planning board actually used to walk around and look at properties, what they were going to approve. And it got tricky with some of the people in town. So the lawyer said, don't do that anymore. And also insurance companies are taking a hard line against properties that are not safe. So that's another, you know, we can't do anything about them, but I know that's what's happening. They won't insure houses.
Yeah, so I think we may have some opportunities to see if we can't at least revisit some of these things, and
I think
I'd like to see at least the notification process get put back in place.
I would too, Todd. I'd love to see that, and I would love to see some teeth in the enforcement side that says that if people don't pay, or that we can put some sort of an encumbrance on their property so that when title changes, they have to pay for it.
Yeah, I would,
Or-
I
or
was
perform
thinking
work.
I was thinking that that's actually already there, but I'd have to look on the code that got approved here a couple months ago, and I'd have to go in and dig that out from the agenda
Okay.
to see if
All
it
right,
got
well,
changed at all.
Well, that would be great if that's in there. All right, so action item would be writing a communication memo that Nate is going to do for us and give us a draft that we can present to the Board of Trustees for approval. Thank you for making that recommendation, Todd, and also for bringing up the issue of the ordinance that exists and the lack of enforcement thereof. And I believe we're all, Rich Bowman, I don't know if y'all can even see us, but Rich is nodding his head that he's in total support as well.
Yes, it's nice. We can see you and Todd. I mean, not Todd, but Rich. We can see you both.
Okay, well, yeah. All right.
So if I could bring, well,
We can't vote on anything.
yeah. Well, I wanted to mention one thing that the board mentioned at the that administrative, what do we call it? Administrative orientation work session. Todd was there. That was just basically administrative transition. Becky and I had questions and just wanted to bounce off the board and et cetera. But one of the things that came out of that was a suggestion that the fire mitigation committee members should sort of be more, I guess, active with finding grants. Had you heard that before? I don't know if you heard that from Angie, but
I have never heard that that was our responsibility.
not necessarily writing
Yeah.
and managing, but finding, there always could be help with finding those things,
That was what Dick Bratton wanted.
and so I don't know if it's in the bylaws or the original fire mitigation thing, but I found this grants database here that's pretty good. There's also a income tax benefit for those who do mitigation. But anyway, this database is out there, and there's quite a bit of stuff on here. So my thought was that maybe as part of someone's volunteer work, they could kind of search this a little bit and see if there are any applicable grants that we could maybe plan for. Obviously 2022, the budget's pretty much already set. I think Becky's trying to research to see if any of last year's money can be put towards this year. And I haven't heard the latest on that, but it just is time consuming to even research and kind of read into all these grants. So that would be one thing that would be particularly helpful for staff, to have that kind of support with people or from people. So just wanted to point that out.
Well, maybe it seems to me that, first of all, right now, there's only 3 members on the committee, and I think in writing our job description or whatever for recruiting members, we should specifically say we want, if we'd like to have somebody with grant writing or grant experience. Because I don't see how David and Rich and Dan can take on anymore. That's just me. I'm sorry, David, if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I just, the resources of this committee, I mean, that's all I wanted to say.
I don't think you have to be a member of the committee to help in that capacity, though, to let the town know, maybe just people. That's my
Yeah.
thought.
I would agree with that. Just something to point out, I mean, staff, we are, everyone's busy, so it's just one of those things that takes time to research and identify and kind of make sure that a certain grant that might look good at first is truly applicable to what the town needs to do or wants to do. So just something to throw out there.
David, what do you think about if I was to put out, since Facebook seems to be our only medium, putting out an announcement to that effect, that we're looking for somebody to write grants or with grant experience.
So I'm trying to make sure I understand the question. Should we put out a public notice that we as the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee are looking for a new, to volunteer to be on the committee that has that experience?
Well, we need volunteers, right? You need volunteers, right? You need at least one or maybe two more volunteers.
But yeah, we currently have two openings on we have two openings on the committee. We have one.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I mean, I take Nate's point that it doesn't have to be, I guess it doesn't have to be somebody on the fire mitigation, it doesn't have to be a member of the committee, but since you need people anyway, it would be nice if, I'm just saying that this is a specific thing that this is a specific job that, people might be able to respond to if they know specifically what we're looking for. There's so much stuff that goes out. Oh, we want volunteers and just volunteer and all that, but there's nothing specific about this. And this is the kind of specific job or description that I think, at least it was worth a shot. And perhaps it would be, maybe it would be somebody not even in town. I mean, maybe it could be somebody from someplace else that could just help us out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea, is to get the word out that, heck, I think the town of Green Mountain Falls would love to have volunteers to write and apply for grants.
Yeah, and
Nate?
as the fire mitigation committee, we ourselves can't apply for the grant. It would have to go through the town,
Yeah.
which is an entity that would have to apply for those grants.
Yeah,
So I'm fine with that.
Right.
That's just finding them.
Yeah, the town itself is gonna have to present that grant.
Let me write up something and I'll shoot it to you tomorrow, David and Rich, and you can look at it.
Okay,
Okay.
that'd be great. All right, we have another.
And I am working on I'm trying to find the balance of how much or how, I don't want to, like Ann alluded to earlier with the Facebook page, I don't want to just sit down and block an hour of time where I post like 10 things on the town Facebook page. I'm trying to get kind of a rhythm to where it's like one a day or one, maybe two a day or something like that. I don't want to just push out like 10, things at once, because then things get buried. So I am working on a way to, or a post, I should say, specifically to address the volunteer need. So I will put something in there about grant experience, obviously helpful for fire mitigation. But like I said, I'm just trying not to do it all at once. I'm trying to space them out. And so I hope this week to get a few out there. and start making some progress.
That sounds good.
So we'll get this, oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
No, I was just gonna say, just with this transition, you know, it's been a crazy couple weeks, and Becky and I are kind of both starting to get our footing, so I think that we'll be, you know, we're not quite hitting the ground running yet, but we will be soon.
Okay, good. So let's move on to next agenda item.
That was what I had, was the,
Even though we're not having an official meeting.
right.
Officially see what we're talking about.
That was basically it. This is just explaining the officer elections. We can't do that today.
Cannot do that.
So we're pretty much,
Sort of. And what can we do anything with regard to our volunteer application? And we clearly can't vote on her.
she didn't come to the meeting, so I assume you'd want to talk to her.
Well,
She actually, I think, does have some grant experience.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, but without her being here, without a forum, I don't know.
We didn't talk about the cusp update, which I could give real quickly. I did talk to Adrian week before last, and he said Swift is finally back up and operational, and he hopes that he's going to be able to get Swift in here in the first quarter of this year to complete all of the work that we had outlined under the first part of the 40-acre grant, which was to cover Iona, the continuation of the Thomas Trail, remediation, and then there was a portion of that was dedicated to private property owners. And he said they have some private property owners who have already signed up. They're going to try to get all of those knocked out at one time once they get Swift in here. He did say that they still have money available for private property owners, and they would love to get that all committed. Because it
I'd love
really
to get it
helps.
all committed too.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there who needs it.
Yep.
Yeah, keep in mind, it's not free, it's matching.
It's a matching grant. Right?
Is the fire mitigation committee helping people get together as neighbors and do things they do over in your neighborhood? But it's the outreach in such a small town. I don't know. I just, people don't know if they don't drive up your street and know those people.
I posted several things for people to try to come together as neighbors and try to do it, and I haven't heard a word from them, and it was on Facebook, but
Well,
my neighbor cannot afford a custom grant. I wish she could, but she can't afford it.
Well, and Matt Gordon sent out letters to people who were joining the Iona project
Yeah.
and so there have been some initiatives to try that were targeted. They just weren't broad based.
Mhm.
Probably, like you mentioned, the insurance companies, probably the biggest thing is when the insurance company comes in and says, we're not gonna insure you unless you do this. That gets your attention real fast. But then they have to have a sign off that it's been inspected, they did the work, and then the insurance company will insure it. It doesn't happen often, probably in the last 10 years, maybe 6 or 8 of them. So they're not that, the threat is there, but they're not that common.
All right. I believe we have exhausted our
Welcome.
discussion points for this evening. I want to thank everyone who attended our meeting, and I'm sorry that we did not have a quorum. But I do appreciate the fact that people participated, and Todd, Carolyn, to bring, I really think that it's helpful for us to get feedback and have this kind of opportunity to sort of just talk to and see what people's issues are. So I think that was helpful. I appreciate that. We took some action items away, and we'll get started on that. Any final closing remarks or comments?
Not for me. Anyone else have any closing remarks, comments?
Yeah, one thing I just noticed, someone had signed on named T. Reeves Pascia. They're, I don't know if they're still there, but that was another person that listened in apparently, so that was good. So.
Well, thanks, everybody. I guess since I called this meeting to order, I should also adjourn the meeting. And we'll so do at 7:42.
All right, thanks
Thanks, all.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone, and have a safe evening. And tomorrow, I think the weather's supposed to be bad.